So Spotify is a global music streaming giant that has steadily gained millions of users since the opening in 2008. Spotify has made major headway in the industry, but must make a change in order to stay relevant in the future of digital music. At the forefront of Spotify's challenges has been their struggle to create profits year over year. The combination of their current freemium business model and high operating costs has made operating income for the company slim to none. Although they are a major brand in the market, there are other companies with very similar offerings at the same price point. Spotify must figure out a way to rework their business model to create income, decrease expenses, and take advantage of new technologies to differentiate themselves in an expanding marketplace.
From a social perspective, they have implemented social media platform integration with their application, and particularly with Facebook and Twitter. Now, the big benefit of this integration is that the Spotify users can actually share their favorite playlists, songs, artists onto these major platforms, and even non-users have access to the content, which is a great asset for customer engagement. The Spotify users also have the ability to share their favorite playlists, ones that they've created or ones that they've come across that have been curated by Spotify, and they have the ability to share those via email or messaging applications. Now, moving on to mobile, Spotify has two main mobile applications, one for their general music streaming service, and then they also have another application called Spotify for Artists, and both of these applications are available on major operating platforms such as Android and iOS. Now, in terms of analytics, from a macro perspective, Spotify does utilize analytics and data mining to gain insights into customer trends and behavior, which helps to improve the overall user experience. Now, reverting back to the second mobile application that Spotify has is the Spotify for Artists app. Now, this is, I would say, a Google Analytics for music artists. And basically what this app allows artists to do is log in and view an extensive amount of data and analytics on financial, demographics, and geographics information for their audience. And it's just a very valuable and unique tool that no other streaming platform currently offers. In terms of the cloud, in 2016, Spotify made the move to the cloud, and they transferred all of their data and information onto the cloud, which definitely helped them reduce their costs, and also was a benefit to customers because now they are allowed to access all their favorite songs, playlists, albums, and things of that nature on or offline, and yet have access to the cloud.
Spotify's value proposition is that it offers the instant streaming of music, which is hosted on the cloud, but they offer both free and paid accounts alongside Spotify for Artists, which allows artists and managers a direct window into the growth of their records. So some of their key activities is like creating partnerships with different companies, as well as finding new music, their day-to-day operations, providing analytics of their streams, creating playlists, and their advertisement deals. So then going into their key resources, those are their artists and the types of songs, music videos, and other content that they have on Spotify. Their key partners would be the companies that give them the music, so the record companies and the independent company deals, the advertising content, and the different partnerships with different companies and social media. They reach their customers through various different channels. They use their online website, the mobile application, different advertisements, and social media websites, which customers can go and share their music options or their favorite playlists. They then build on these customer relationships because they have self-service requirements, and also you can customize your type of Spotify, like what type of music you want. You can customize your playlist. They also suggest new artists and music based on the customers' trends. And their customers are built into different segments. So you have your free customers and your premium customers. And with Spotify for Artists, that builds in a whole new customer segment because that's dealing with the artists and their managers. Their revenue, they bring in a lot of revenue from their premium services, as well as their advertisements. And Spotify for Artists, you have to pay a membership fee. But their cost structure, they're paying a lot in cost with their royalties that they have to pay to the artists for even like allowing Spotify to stream their music. So it's very hard for Spotify to create a profit right now. Next slide is talking about the key partnerships that Spotify has, as well as some of their competitors, Apple Music, Deezer, and Pandora. So there are some car manufacturers that all the companies partner with. Ride-sharing and taxi apps is like Uber is really just what Spotify is with, and Pandora is using them as well. Airlines, Virgin Airlines for Spotify, only Southwest Airlines and Beats for Apple Music. TV and connected devices, a lot of them are involved with that except Apple Music, and social networks, most of them allow sharing with their music options except for Apple Music and Pandora.
So some of the main advantages of the freemium model are that it is a main differentiator against Spotify's competitors. Spotify uses non-aggressive conversion tactics to turn free users into premium users, and that those users can try before they buy and may find more value once they know they enjoy the service. Some of the main disadvantages of the freemium fall on Spotify financially, which means that premium users have to offset the cost generated by free users. Furthermore, this means that Spotify still has to pay labels whenever a free user streams music, and they have to pay anywhere from 0.006 cents to 0.0084 cents, and this weighs heavily on their ability to profit. To help cover royalty costs and other expenses, we suggest Spotify increase their subscription by $1. As of 2016, Spotify has over 30 million paying users, and thus will generate $30 million in revenue. This assumption is that the trial subscriptions are not included in this number. We also suggest that Spotify cut down their 99-cent trial time to 2 months instead of 3 months, which will help convert free customers to premium customers at a faster rate, in turn growing their paying customer base.
The technological accelerators for the market growth for Spotify could be new integration of ubiquitous computing, allowing people to interact with album releases or live concerts in new ways, and then disruptive technologies like AI or virtual reality. AI is learning to create songs right now, which could lead to a decrease in cost for making songs, and therefore a decrease in cost for streaming songs for Spotify, and even virtual reality to make Spotify a little bit more interactive. The technological impediments for market growth for Spotify could be home AI systems like Google Home or Amazon Echo, because both those companies already have their own streaming services and therefore would make those streaming services more compatible with them instead of Spotify. And then also any new music streaming services could also push Spotify out of their market growth. Spotify should attempt to enter new markets because music streaming is not giving them enough profitability. But with the music streaming industry, it's all about who can supply it first and most exclusively. And right now, Spotify is not doing that. They're being beat out by Tidal and Apple Music. So using these technological accelerators, they could help them enter new markets.
So in terms of Spotify's analytics, our group developed 4 recommendations to help improve their overall user experience, increase customer engagement, and increase innovation and revenue generation. So the first recommendation that we have is time-based analytics, and a fashion of this is already being implemented. For example, around the wintertime or Christmas season, more Christmas playlists and holiday music is presented, but this would go a bit deeper, and an example of this would be if you have a workout scheduled at 7 p.m., Spotify would know this and immediately at 7 p.m. would recommend a workout playlist or bring up the workout playlist that you have curated. Another recommendation we have is the predictive popularity analysis. Now, this is, again, sort of being used already, but this analysis would go deeper into the KPIs of what makes a particular artist or song relevant or popular, and really like seek those out and push them to Spotify's users. Another recommendation we have is geographic analysis, and what we mean by this is tracking the Spotify user's location, and then based on their preferred artists or albums or songs or genres, we can make recommendations for upcoming tour dates, pop-up shops, or events held by those artists that they love or new up-and-coming artists of similar genres. The final component that we recommend is developing an entrepreneurial program. Similar to that of Google or Facebook, I think that a millennial-driven entrepreneurship program would definitely help create a pipeline of talent for Spotify, and in turn boost their innovation and revenue generation.
All right, Roland.
All right. For new programs, technology, and processes that could provide Spotify with a competitive advantage, they need to deepen their relationship with PlayStation and start to incorporate PlayStation VR into their product offerings. Also, do new partnerships with new and emerging technology manufacturers so they can be the first on there and be one of the first things people see when they start using this technology. And then also incorporate the new analytics that Devin discussed earlier, time-based predictive popularity, geographic, and entrepreneurship.
So, in the future, Spotify should focus on innovation regarding research and development and innovative technologies and increase analytics involving both geographic and predictive analytics. Some of the new opportunities include added value based on the product offerings as previously discussed, as well as partnerships with companies that can help to integrate technologies and innovation as well as spread the company's brand. They should focus on reconfiguring the old model to include key partnerships and update the cost structure as before mentioned. And finally, the financial implications would include that of increased administrative costs in solidifying partnerships, increased R&D costs, and setting up infrastructure for VR and AI implementation.
For the final recommendations, Spotify's large costs and negative revenues were very alarming. So increasing revenue and decreasing costs is one of the first things we looked at trying to do. We also looked at current and developing technologies, current and potential partnerships, current and future analytics opportunities, and then also what competitors are doing. So all of these together helped us figure out what Spotify is currently doing and what they need to be doing. For our final recommendations, the first one we have is partner with new and emerging electronics manufacturers. Getting in early would be cheaper than getting with a well-established company. And while we do recognize this may be riskier because new companies don't have guaranteed success, Spotify can leverage their success to help them be successful as well, and it would be a win-win situation. The second recommendation we have is to deepen their relationship with Sony and PlayStation and incorporate PlayStation VR into their offering by offering first row access virtually, and then also private intimate interview sessions with their favorite artists. This would only be available to premium members, and this could also help push people from those free accounts to those premium accounts. Third, we would allocate more resources to R&D to specifically focus on innovative and disruptive technologies so Spotify can be the first to get on those and start incorporating those more into their business. Fourth, we would utilize music industry experts to predict artists and genre explosions so we can get in early with them, and that would also be cheaper when you get in early with them and also allow us to provide, our Spotify to provide the exclusive content before its competitors. And then number 5, increase all premium memberships by $1.
So to go along with our recommendations, we do have an action implementation plan. So with our first recommendation, Spotify would need to establish a team that combs through the market to find new and emerging technology manufacturers in order to work on securing those partnerships. For our second recommendation that involving ourselves more so with the PlayStation VR team, we would create a team that has both technical roles, which would work together with Sony to build the technology itself and the product, and then we'd also need management roles, which are going to be in charge of managing their partnerships themselves. With our third recommendation, which involves research and development, we would need to hire experienced technology focused talent to help guide the research and development team itself and make resources available to the team, like money. The fourth one would be to create artist and genre curation team that also uses industry experts. So when it comes to finding that like exclusive content that they could employ with their application, we would need to like actually have like well-versed people on the different industries, especially the different genres like rock, hip hop, and R&B. And with our last recommendation, which involves the price hike, we would definitely need to alert already existing memberships of the increase in price, as well as advertising it to bring on new customers.